Hi, welcome to our lesson 2 of the Adobe Illustrator. So with this lesson, you're going to learn about the tools, how to use the tools in Illustrator. And you have the tools here in our left or on our left hand side. Now with the tools, if you install it for the first time, sometimes you may not see all these tools that I'm seeing here. With how to get that, you have the workspaces in Illustrator. And with the workspaces, you come here, I have my workspaces right in here. So you also be on Essentials, so you make sure you choose Essentials Classic and you have all these tools right here. Right. Okay. So before you start with the tools, let me show you some things that you can do with Illustrator. All right. So with Illustrator, right, you'll be able to do this with Illustrator. Right. You can also do this with Illustrator. Right. This also. I can do this with Illustrator. Right. All these foods were done with Illustrator. Right. You can do this, you just have to follow the lessons very well, and then you'll be able to do massive things with Illustrator. Yes. You'll be able to do these kind of artworks with Illustrator. Yes, you have to follow the lesson very well, and you'll get how to use it. Right. It's a very nice graphic design application to use. Okay, so let's move into the tools. Now we have this in here, our selection tool, right? And as the name goes, it is used for selections. So I go for this tool, that is the rectangle tool. I draw a shape here. So with the help of this selection tool, I can select this shape and then pan it around. I can move it to any position that I want. Right? So that is the work of the selection tool. Right? You have this right here, and then also they have shortcuts. So when you position the cursor on it, it pops up the selection tool, and then you see into bracket V. So V is a shortcut. So if you have any other tool selected and then you hit V on your keyboard, it will move to select the selection tool for you. Okay. The next one here is the direct selection tool, which has the shortcut A. Right? So with the direct selection tool, right, it's also for selection also. Right? I can select this, pan it around. But let's take a look at this. I can drag around only this side, and it will select this point and this point. Right? The names or the names given to these are anchors. So this is an anchor, right? And this is also an anchor. So with the direct selection tool, you can select individual anchors. So once I click on this, you can see that this is in blue, then the rest are in white, which means this is the selected anchor. I can move this around. Right? I can move it anywhere with that one selected. Right? If I click here, I select this anchor, and then also I can move it. Right? And you have this also here, which you can drag to curve the point, right, or the edge. Okay. Right. When I click here, I have H right here, right, which I can drag to curve that point also. Right. Right. If you have everything selected, you have it at all the corners. So once you drag, right, it will curve all the corners. But if you want to do it for just a single side, then you have to first click once, and then you see that circle right there is actually different from the other three right here, which means that this is the selected one. So you drag and then it will affect only that side. Right? That's the work of the direct selection tool. Right? So you can click and drag and call this marquee selection. You click and drag and you can select only these two sides, or just click and drag here to select only this side. So if you have anchors, right, you can use the direct selection tool in selecting your anchors. And as we move on, we'll get to know how to use it very well. Okay. Now with this, you can see an arrow, a small arrow right here, which means that there is another tool hidden in there. So with this, the mouse will right click right there, and then we have it here as the group selection tool. Now with the group selection tool, this is used to select objects which is in a group or objects that have been grouped. Now let me select this right here and then hit on the delete key to delete it. I go for my rectangle tool, double click here, and then I change my color to red. So I draw these ones right here. Okay. So with these objects, I want to select all. So I can use the shortcuts on my keyboard, Ctrl+A, to select all. Or other way to do that, that is with my direct selection tool, my selection tool. I said it is used for selections. So if I want to select everything here, I just click and drag all over them and then I have it selected. Or even if you click and drag and it, it touches the object, it will select the object. So I have all these objects selected, right? And I want to group this object. Now you have the shortcut Control J for group, or you can go to objects here and you can see group right here. And then the shortcut is right here, Control J. That's for Windows. If you're using Mac, it's Command J. Right, so I click on this to group everything. So now with my direct selection tool, when I click, it selects everything because everything is in a group, right? So when moving, it moves everything around, right? So we are here. Let's go to our direct selection tool, right click, and then we go for the group selection tool. Now with the group selection tool, I can select individual objects in the group, right? So everything has been grouped in here, but with the group selection tool, I can select individual objects and move them. And even if I should go here for the direct selection tool, right, I can work on the anchors right here. Right. But when I go for my selection tool, right, and then I click it, select everything because everything here has been grouped or it's in a group. So to select individual, so with the the group selection tool, I can select individual objects within the group. Right? But with the direct selection tool, when I click, it selects everything because everything has been grouped. Now to ungroup it also, right? You go there to objects and then you can ungroup, or you can right click here and then you see ungroup right here. So you can ungroup them, and then with the direct selection tool, after ungrouping, you can select your individual shapes or objects. Right. Okay. So right. So let's move on to the next one. We have the magic wand tool. Now, magic wand, if you know how to use Photoshop, you see that magic wand is a selection tool. It is used for selection. Yes, and here also in Illustrator, magic wand is used for selection, but in a different way. So with Illustrator, right, for us to get the use of the magic wand very well, with these objects in here, I'll change the colors of some of the objects. I'll change this, like, okay, all right, so I change this to this color, right? So I want to select this. I want to make a multiple selection in here. So making multiple selections, I've selected this. I'll hold down my shift key on my keyboard and I'll click on the other objects that I want to select. Okay, so I click on these ones. I want to select these ones. I want to give it the same color of this. So I have this right here called the eyedropper tool. So I click on the eyedropper and then I click on this color and it fills the other ones with the same color. Okay, so now with the magic wand tool, using the magic wand tool, it selects objects with the same color or objects which have same attribute. So looking at this, right, I have red here, red here, red here, red here, and then they all have black outlines or stroke. So if I click here, it will select all the red objects in here because they all have the same color and then they all have that black stroke or outline in there, right? So it selects objects with similar or same attribute. If I click on this right here, it will select all the green objects in here because they all have the green color and then the black stroke or the black outline. Okay, so that is the work of the magic wand tool. Okay, right. So I select this tool. I'm moving on to the next. We have the lasso tool. So with the lasso tool, I click on the lasso tool, and this is also used for selecting the anchors or path. So if I should draw around this, it selects this anchor right here for me. So you can see this is in blue and then the other anchors are in white. As when we were using the direct selection tool, when you click, it gives you the selected anchor in blue and then the other ones in white. So with the lasso tool also, when I click and drag around it, it will select the anchor. So I draw around these ones and it select these two anchors. So this is in blue, this is in blue, which is telling us that these two anchors are selected. So that is the work of the lasso tool. So I select them and then with the arrow keys on my keyboard, I can manipulate it or can move it around. Okay. Okay. Now the next one in here, that is the pen tool. Yeah, the pen tool, one of the most powerful tools in Illustrator. Right. This pen tool, you can find it in Adobe Photoshop also. It works the same way. Right. Okay. So with this, using the pen tool, I highlight everything here to select all and I delete them. Right. So with the pen tool, now using the pen tool, when you click and then drag, right, it creates an object or path for you. So this is a closed shape. Now the color, right, it's taking the color of this. Now these ones that we are seeing here, we have this, the first one, that is the fill color, and then this with a hollow shape or transparent shape in here. This is for the stroke or the outline. So the black that we are seeing here, that is this color, and then the inside green, that is for the fill color, right? So using the pen tool, right, I can click, right, just be clicking and then to create a path. Now, one thing that we should take note of, I click, 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 and then here, if I come here, that means I'm ending my selections. So once I position it at the starting point, you will see a circle will appear beside the pen tool, right? So which means that I am closing my selection or I'm closing the path. So when I move it away and click somewhere else, it's still not closed. But when I move there, you can see the circle right there. That means I want to close the path. So once I click, I close it. With the pen tool also, you can use it to draw curves. Right? So I have my pen tool, I click, right? And then this time when I click, I want to release my hand, I'll click and then hold and then drag to create a curve for me, right? So I get this. Now sometimes when using the pen tool, right, you would like to draw an object or a shape and it won't be giving you the shape that you want. So with the pen tool, I click right here, and then when I click and drag, I would like to move this point right here back to this position. So with this, I hold on my Alt key, right? It gives me this, right? The cursor changes from the pen tool to this, right? So I can click here and then drag it back to the position. Then I can go on and then make another curve right here. And with that also, I hold on the Alt, then make this back to the position. So I go around that way to create my shape right there. Okay, right. So we are seeing an arrow also right here, which means that there are some other tools under the pen tool. So once you go here, you have the add anchor point tool, the delete anchor point tool, and then the anchor point tool. So with the add anchor point tool, if I select this and I come here, I can add an anchor in here or a node. So once I click, you see what happens right here. It adds an anchor or a node to our path. Right? Yes. And then the next one in there, that is the delete anchor point tool. So as the add anchor point tool add anchors, the delete anchor point tool also is used for deleting anchors. So when I click, it deletes the anchor or the node. So once you position it there, you see the minus sign in there. You see the minus sign in there. That means you want to delete an anchor. So you click on the anchor and then you delete it. Yeah. And then the next in here, there is the anchor point tool. Right. So with the anchor point tool, yes. So this is my point. Right. I can use it to adjust this shape, right, or turn into a different shape. That is with the anchor point tool. Right. Okay. Okay. And then the next one that you are going to look at is the curvature tool, right, which also works similar to that of the pen tool. So with the curvature tool, I select this, I click and then drag and make or to make curves, right? I can make curves with this curvature pen tool. So this is what I just did with the curvature pen tool. So you just be clicking like this. You don't hold and drag, you just be clicking. Right. Now, let's assume you have a rectangular shape right here. Right. I want to curve the path, right? Maybe this path, this here, or this one right here. You can go with the curvature tool. Right? So you select the curvature tool and then you can position it. You see a plus sign appear. So you just click and then drag to create your curve. Okay. I come here, I click and I drag to get my curve. Right. I can do it here. Right. So that's the work of the curvature tool, right, for making curves, as the name goes, curvature. Okay. Right. So the next one in here, that is a type 2, the type 2, right? So with the type 2, right, once you see type, that means you want to add text to your designs. So with the type 2, I go for my type 2 and then I click, right? So I have this here and I can type this justice. So after typing, right, I can highlight it, and when I look here, right, I have the character right here, right? So I see my red bow, which means that is the font. So when I click, I can change the font to any font that I want. Now this, right, we have the font style. That is with some of the fonts, you will see bold right? Yes, regular, extra light, medium, semi-bold, italic, and stuff right here. Right. So this that we see right here also is for the fonts. So you click here, that's for the font size. You click here for the drop down and you can change the font size from here. Or right here, you can use the arrows in here, the one pointing up and then the one pointing down. So using this, that means you want to increase the size of the font, and using this, you want to decrease the size of it. Right. Now, with this here, if I go for my selection tool, right, I can still resize this, right? But once I click, you can see that it's being distorted. So to resize it proportionally, right, without it being distorted, you hold down the shift key on your keyboard, right, and then you resize it without you distorting it. Or if you want to resize it proportionally from the center, whilst holding down the shift key, you add the alt key to it. So the shift and then the alt, and then you resize it proportionally from the center. Now, under the type tool also, we have the area type tool, right? The type on part two, the vertical type tool, the vertical area type tool, the vertical type on part two, and then the touch type tool, which we'll tackle on our next lesson. Thank you.